Welcome, everybody, to Ladies Night. It is our episode 18, which is awesome. We're almost at 20. I am your host, Melissa Sage-Bollenbach, and today my co-host is Kristina Airdo, and we're both editors and writers and podcasters at Side Sox and Sox Populi. We are guest lists today. It is just the two of us that you get to listen to talk about some just White Sox baseball, because you can't ever get enough of White Sox baseball, can you, Kristina?
Never, absolutely never.
Never. Okay, we're going to kind of break our pod today into three parts. We're going to do a little bit of prospect checking, some thoughts on Luis Robert, a little bit of farm talk, and we'll see where that takes us. So let's jump off by talking about Grant Taylor. So he is the latest prospect to join the team in Chicago. He's the number 6 prospect for the White Sox. He was a very impressive prep player. He was 7-0 with a 2.25 ERA and 127 strikeouts when he was a senior, which is crazy. But the one thing I didn't know about him when I was looking stuff up was that he was also an amazing offensive player. He batted .330 with 8 home runs in high school.
Good fun fact.
Yeah, that is a fun fact. Like, you just like once they get drafted and you're like pitcher, and then like, I don't know, like if it was mentioned of that he was a good offensive guy, it went over my head. So, but he's still young. He graduated in 2021. So yeah, still super young guy. And then he went to Louisiana State, so an SEC school, so super competitive. But he only pitched one season there because he got hurt, had to have Tommy John. So he did not pitch at all for what would have been his second year at LSU. But he was drafted anyway by the White Sox in 2023. And he then was recovering from Tommy John. Then 2024 hit, and he was doing really well in the minors for the White Sox. And then he got injured again, and he had a lat injury. So he's obviously, struggled with quite a few injuries in his career so far as a young guy. But then this year he started out and he was doing really good. And then he went from Birmingham right to the big league club. Yes, here he is. And he showed up last week. What were your thoughts on kind of the quick progression of him when you really think about how few actually professional games that he has played?
Yeah, I know. I was actually looking at this again right before we were talking because I was curious, like, how many innings really has he pitched? And like, it's not that many since he's been in the system. It's like 30 innings. It's like, which is like crazy. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not shocked. Let me start by saying I'm not shocked that he is already up because he has been like phenomenal pretty much since he has been recovered from Tommy John's. Like last year, he was exceptional at the low A level. I believe he started at, or he was with Winston-Salem, right? Yeah. And then, he moved up, like kind of just transitioned totally fine into Birmingham. And he has a 1.01, right around 1 ERA in Birmingham this year alone. And, that was only 26 innings, but we don't have anyone in the bullpen. We don't have in the White Sox, like there's not anyone in the bullpen. There's not many guys that are just like hanging around that are ready in Charlotte that are like, we want to put our eggs in this basket right now, because if they're in Charlotte, they're more than likely have already been up at some point at this point in time. So
right.
We don't have much to work with. Everyone's injured. So, give him the shot. Like this is also the year and the season for them to like get these innings in and maybe fail, but like you need to start getting this kind of competition under your belt too. Like if you're going to be up here sooner than later, but he seems to be handling the pressure okay. I mean, he did not do that great in his last outing, but like the first 2 innings, I'd say he looked pretty solid. I mean, every time he pitches, he's probably one of the top players in velocity in all of MLB.
Right.
So
101.5, right? Is that first outing, which is crazy.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Because like he's not walking. I mean, granted, he's been here for 3 innings, so like not here, but in comparison to previous years, I feel like he's not walking as many guys is like could be an issue, but you know, do you think he weighs it out with how many guys he strikes out too? Like, what do you think?
Yeah. So obviously that first outing, everybody was super pumped. I mean, he just looked, but it's like part of me wonders if like that was like adrenaline because I mean, it was just pumping those crazy high, fastballs and stuff. And then the second time, it was good, but a little more shaky. And then the third time out, it was kind of like, yee. So I don't know. I really hope because I agree with what you said. And like at this point, you want to just see what these kids can do, but it seems awfully fast. Like once I started digging into how many actual professional innings that he's thrown, I thought, maybe till the All-Star break, just sitting in Birmingham a little bit longer to me, because you don't want him. You want him to come up here and get some experience, but you also don't want him to come up here and just get completely rocked. And if he's going to rely on this fastball, I mean, which is his best pitch, 101 mile an hour, 100 mile an hour, and that doesn't intimidate MLB hitters as much as it intimidates, a AA guy. Right. So like, I'm just hoping that, I mean, in Bannister, we trust, right? Obviously the guy knows what he's doing, but that he's going to be able to mix up the pitches enough so that the big leaguers aren't just sitting on that fastball, because they can take that out, I mean, yeah, it's impressive. And you can strike out a lot of guys and get a lot of Ks, but I also think a lot of players these days can knock the crud out of a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. We've seen it. So
once you figure out how to hit it and like can catch up to it, that's actually like one of the best pitches to take out of the ballpark.
Exactly. So yeah.
He's an interesting one because there's not enough like data to really know one way or the other. And like, you make a great point too with like him being so quick and rushed. And like we're talking about Noah Schultz, like is that fast and being promoted to Birmingham. And here we are like, and in my opinion, I was like, he's not been like himself necessarily this whole season. But when you think about it, then when I look at Taylor, like I was more like just a few minutes ago saying that like, yeah, it makes sense. But like, really does it? I mean, it's like, I think it's more that like, we're just scraping the bottom of the barrel and we're bringing them in these situations because we don't have that many options at this time.
Choices. Yeah. And at this point it's like, we want to see
he can handle it.
And we're excited about it. But at the same time,
cautious.
Yeah, because somebody like Schultz, you think about how they have slow rolled him to this point. Like he really has like slowly built up through the system. Mm-hmm. So, him too, kind of seeing him go to Charlotte before the All-Star break is a little interesting. So I don't know if it's like a change in philosophy because they do seem to kind of take their time more with their pitchers, but I don't know. Also, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Exactly. I feel like that's just where we're at.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we'll cross our fingers. Good luck, Grant. We hope good things. We hope good things for you. All right. So Teel. Kyle Teel hasn't been up too long either. So we've got a small sample size on him. And he has not been as impressive as Quero, but obviously Quero's, he's been up longer as well and has had more time to get adjusted. He's slashing 227, 357, 227 with a 584 OPS. So it's not great. He's had a pass ball already as well. His caught stealing is 25%. So 30 is like the benchmark of like, okay, this is pretty average. So he's a little bit below that. But again, small sample size. I like his energy that he brings. He seems super committed to figuring out, what he needs to do at this level to be successful. But what are you thinking about Mr. Teel?
Yeah, I know. And I was looking at earlier too, and he's kind of just been like falling off even as the last week has gone. Like I think his last 4 games, he's batting like a 167. So, and again, like we said, he's only been up for a handful. So it's hard to judge right away. And he's young too. And like, he's getting this opportunity too, where it's probably a high pressure situation, knowing that there are two other catchers that are like kind of competing for the same positioning. Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see how like him and Edgar kind of take this like half and half role while they figure out who's doing better with hitting and who's going to throw out more guys and everything like that. But it's kind of just like,
how do we get ourselves in these positions?
I don't know. It's like everything is a coin flip to me right now.
You like think back to the Abreu Vaughn thing and all that stuff. And it's like, I don't understand yes, you want to have the best players that you can have, but like, how do we go for like decades upon decades of not having like any catchers?
I know.
Now
it's crazy.
All the catchers.
Now we have 3.
Yeah. And they're super young. Yeah. And they're really young and they both have a lot, really high floors and you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It stresses me out thinking like, I don't want either one of them to be shortchanged by trying to balance having them both at this level. So yeah, that just.
Yeah, I know. Cause I mean, in an ideal world, I feel like they are our 2 catchers like moving forward. Right. So was definitely, and still am all for Kyle getting reps. Like, let's see what you can do at this level. Yeah. He has a pass ball already. And like, I know Edgar has obviously been like, good, but like medium. It's like no one's really been like incredible, I would say, where you're just like, this is our everyday catcher. I think he has probably some things to still figure out with hitting and getting settled in at this level and catching up to the pitching and like really making some tweaks. But we'll see once he starts like doing that. And I'll give him more than like a week and a half, under his belt before I really judge him, or really any of the guys that are coming up. But yeah, I would say started off impressed. Like agree with you. Love the energy. I would like to hopefully see him start to rebound a little bit.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we don't mess them up.
No, yeah, did I just jinx him? I'm sorry, Kyle.
No, I just I don't know. It's like just like flashbacks of like Andrew Vaughn in the outfield because we're trying to figure out how to make this work. And then now look, we just traded him away because I don't know.
That's still like, we don't have enough time to discuss the Andrew Vaughn in the outfield today.
Yeah, we don't. We definitely don't. Okay. So I think the brightest spot of the prospects so far is Chase Meidroth. He seems to have really found his groove in terms of offensively, especially he's a little offensively, he's better at short. He's better at second than he is at short. He has an OPS of 104, OPS plus of 104. So he's, above 100. So yay. And he is worth a 1.1 WAR.
Wow.
Are you not excited about a 1.1 WAR?
That's probably the highest WAR on the team. So yeah, I'm a little excited about it.
I know. I was like, oh, go you, Chase Meidroth. Yeah. So, I mean, clearly on the defensive end, he's a little more comfortable at second because he's got the 3 errors at short.
Yeah.
So, certainly don't want to see him making the throw like he did it late in the game the other night or, the getting hit on the head, that kind of stuff. Those things need to be cleaned up. But other than that, he definitely seems like a gamer. And as of today, he was 282, 365, and 345 with a 710 OPS. So I will take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that he has been he's solidified himself at the top of the lineup for sure. He's always ready to go, like you said too. I mean, his energy is also great. He gets on base plenty, and it's like you just kind of know that he's going to get on base. It's like almost approaching like the Tim Anderson levels of a few years ago, where you were like, oh well, there's like more than likely he's going to get on base in this situation.
Yeah.
And like he's gotten on in clutch times too. And like, granted, we're not necessarily driving these runs in all the time. I'm sure like we've all seen how many close games and stuff that we lose, but yeah, he is a gamer. I look forward to watching him more. I think maybe second base should be like maybe his primary position, but having that versatility for him to be able to shift over is, I think, really helpful and clutch to be able to do that. You can kind of give guys a rest, or, while we're waiting for us to have like our actual shortstop, he can fill in that role. But I think he's been great. I love him at the top of the order. I think either way, like he's been 1-2. I think both of them like suit him well, and he seems to not really care. Like he just will take it in stride and is like, all right, that's where I'm batting today. Like I'm going to go, get on base 3 times, however it may be.
I just want to be on the field. Just put me out there, put me in coach. I'm ready to play. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So I look forward to him to watching him more and hoping to see him like kind of just settle in at the major league level. But I think so far so good. I will take it.
Well, look like 15 minutes just flew by. But we're going to take a quick break before we transition to our next piece. So hang with us. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we're back, and we're gonna spend a few minutes talking about Luis Robert Jr. So, has he made himself a little more tradable with his improvement over the last couple of weeks? Kristina, what do you think?
You know what? It's funny because when I was writing the pregame today, I was like looking at who's been hot, over the last couple of weeks. And I like to just look at trends. And if you open it up to the last 30 days, he's not anywhere near the top of the list. But if you shorten it up to the last couple of weeks, I was thinking about it, he has been making a lot better contact. Like, you're starting to hear that he's driving runs in, and yeah, he's 30 at-bats, sure, but slashing 300, 364, 467, leading the team with 8 RBIs. His OPS was either first or second. So, I mean, he's definitely starting to, I would say, wake up a little. And I know Luis has notoriously been, like, not good in, like, April, and now it started to leak into May, and it's June now. When are you going to wake up? But we'll see. I think that I do think that either way, he is an attractive player for teams to want to pick up. Like the tools are there. It might just be this organization. It might just be how he was set up. It might just be that he actually isn't that good. And I don't know if we'll know that until he does get traded, and like, we'll see where he goes. I still think that he'll probably be traded. If he keeps hitting like he has been and playing like he has been too. I mean, that sliding catch, was it last week or whatever? Like that was insanely clutch. If he keeps doing those things, like I think that he's someone that, a team will want and will need.
So when I was digging around about this really shocked me. So defensive runs saved so far this year, he's -2. The only other season he was negative was in 2022. That not so great season he had.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I thought, that he did make that great play the other day, and like overall, I feel like he's made some pretty good defensive plays, and I was like, wow, for somebody who's usually like when they're having a bad year, his defense rises him up. Yeah. That's not even the case this year.
Yeah.
So, that was a little bit concerning to me. That was like, well, if a team can't even depend on his defense at this point, be like, this guy's even a defensive liability, not only an offensive liability, that just kept me thinking a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But, on the offensive side, I just wonder too, if he's got some protection in the lineup, would he just be better? Because he hasn't had that in so long here that, I mean,
right.
That just after look what's happened to Gavin Sheets, the fact that he actually has some folks around him that can hit, it kind of makes a difference for him. And so he hasn't had anybody that can hit. So hopefully,
because he gets on, like he's gotten on in situations too, where it's like been late in the game and he comes up and like, he might get a single or like he walks and, he's second on the team in walks, which is crazy. If you look at it a couple of years ago, it's like, who are you? Honestly, but and you're right. Like there's no one else then that comes up behind him. Like after he comes up in the order and like before Vargas was hitting really well, like no one was back there. You got like what Michael A. Taylor's going to come up. You know what I mean? It's like, I just, yeah, there's no support in the lineup, but I don't know. I feel like he's still tradable, but he's been extremely unimpressive, I will say. And I'm actually shocked by the defensive run save. Like that's wow. Like what are you even doing in the lineup? Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, good Lord. Which, okay, so that kind of leads me into what I'm calling White Sox trends and troubles. This is my new little tagline: White Sox trends and troubles. So, the fielding Bible, like I love going there. So, the defensive run saved this year, we are 24th out of 30. That's an improvement. You're still like, ugh, that's not good. But last year we were 30 of 30. So we have some improvement in the defense, but clearly not enough. But we do not have a single position where we are a positive defensive run saved. Like not even like a 0 or let alone a
good
1.
job, guys.
But we don't have any position where we're not negative. And still, that puts us at 24th. So the 4 teams behind us must be, really, really bad. But so while that's good news, I think it's also really terrible news. Like we've got to get better. And then the game tonight is kind of proving that too. Defense has been all over the place.
God, I wish I didn't know that was an improvement. That is like really unfortunate. Negative across the board is horrible. Like not any single one of you can hold out a position. That's great for everyone. Wow.
I didn't write it, but I think catcher was the best. And I think that was like a -1. So
excellent. Yeah. That's not shocking. I know your original question was like, will they be as bad as last year? And like, no, I want to say no, but like the amount of 1-run games that we lose, like we might, because it is like crazy how many 1-run games we are losing. That being said, are we making like improvements? Are there positive signs? Like, yes, I will say that there are a lot of individually positive pieces to this team. It would be really cool if they started to like band together a little bit to become a little bit more cohesive. But like, there's some moves that they've made previously that they might not have done. Like we might still be, previous White Sox, in my opinion, would have Andrew Vaughn rotting on this lineup the entire season. And somehow he's gone. So like maybe now, like we'll see what they do about Robert. The prospects need to get, they're going to be up here. They need to get these reps in. And so like, we're going to be bad. Like it is what it is. We know we're going to be bad, but at least like maybe we'll have a little bit of fun while we're being bad. And like, there's some of those small wins that you can pick out in a game. Some games there is not any of those, but I don't know. Do you think we'll be as bad as last year? Like, I mean, the whole, like losing all the close games is really brutal. I mean, we're also like 29th or something in our batting average for like close games. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just, we don't do well in those situations. And those are the situations we're in. It's so weird.
Right. And a lot of times those close games, right, are decided by defense, right?
Yeah. An error, something. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like that I do see the improvements, like the small improvements, but the overall picture is still pretty bleak.
Oh yeah.
Until there's some major, you're not going to win much of anything when your defense is, sitting at 24 out of 30. And yeah, is it better than 30 out of 30? Sure. Mathematically, that tells you it's better than, but if you can't field a single positive position, so here's another little interesting one. So in 2025, the starter ERA is 17th out of 30 at 4.01. In 2024, it was 25th at 4.62. So That's an improvement, right? Our relievers are
I don't even want to know.
22nd with 4.28 versus 28th at 4.73. So again, like there's, things are positive. Batting averages 258. Or starter. Wait, no, that's not, I don't know. I wrote something wrong there. Like, wait a minute. There's no way their batting average is 250.
Which is so sad.
I know what it is. So for the starting pitchers, the batting average against them was 258, and last year it was 252. So there's actually a little bit of fall off there, where the starters had a little bit lower of a batting average last year. And the relievers have a better batting average, which shocked me. So the relievers this year are at 248 as opposed to last year's 259. I thought for sure that was not going to be the case. I was like, the relievers this year have been so bad, but last year they were way bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That it's so funny because I actually thought that the relievers would be worse, but then you remember that like they have brought up random guys and like Grant Taylor was all right for a couple innings. And then it's like, you remember that there was like some instances that definitely contributed. Like, oh God, but the overarching like theme with the bullpen too. I mean, we're third in the league in walks, which is horrible. So I just, I don't even know what to like make of them. They're slightly better, but also like almost the same.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just have to see like how many, like if are they going to keep losing the 1-run games, because if that's the case, then
right.
Yeah, our record might be really close to what it was last year. And this is frightening. So maybe, I mean, what was the over under? Isn't it like 52 or 55 wins? Like that's what the goal, right?
The goal.
I guess his goal. I don't know. I don't think that they're any better, but they're at least like some of those guys that were just rotting here previously are gone. And I feel like the vibe is better. So like, if that's the baby step that we have to take this year, then I hate it, but that's what we have. Like,
we have to take the little wins. I guess. Yeah, I know. Cause I get like super excited when they go on like, win 2 out of 3 and you're like, okay, maybe it's like, I think we just get so hopeful that it's like, okay, maybe it's turning around.
Yep.
And then we get reminded with a 5-game losing streak.
Right.
No, we're nowhere.
Or like the 3 games in Texas, I feel like those were all winnable games. Right. Yeah. Or, it's just, I think they got beat up a little bit the one game, but like, there's just, they're in them until they're not. But yeah, I know.
Until they can't hit in a clutch situation, until they throw
almost every time.
So yeah, those good.
Oh yeah,
those good times. All right. The last couple minutes that we have. Anybody on the farm that you want to shout out that as you've been writing over the past couple weeks that has been like, oh yeah, this person needs some airtime.
Yeah, I know. And, I feel like we gave him a lot of airtime the other day when we were talking on our other podcast for the minors for our May wrap up. But I mean, Samuel Zavala has been much better over the last couple weeks and like impressively better. Like I was actually shocked when I was writing up my Sunday recap the other day and like, his trend over the last couple weeks has been like significantly higher, even I think the last month. And before he was just sitting right around like 200 batting like all the time, but we love to see that. Ryan Galaney has been like just raking in Birmingham, and I love that for him because he's someone that no one really talks about as much, but he like quietly is leading the team, I think, in a lot of offensive stats. So
and he's first base too, right?
Yeah, yep, first base. So like I love that.
Let's see him in Charlotte. Give him some time at Charlotte, and let's see. He would be a fun September call up, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it's like start getting some of these guys coming in if they're going to like, if we want to get them take at bats, especially some of them are like slightly older, I mean, I'm glad that Tim Elko is finally up here too, he's like 26, and the other one I had is Sam Antonacci. He was injured for a bit, but he's just someone that I really have been excited about in Kannapolis. And I think now he's actually up in Winston-Salem, but Yeah, he's just offensively, he's great. I feel like I'm constantly writing like he's got like 2 hits a night.
Yep.
Yeah, which like we love to see that. And you need someone else that can get on base all the time, and that down the line like could be a really good piece if he's able to maintain that. So just like those little, I like to call out 3 guys, that we don't necessarily talk about all the time, but maybe we should start talking about more.
Yeah, maybe we should. I think we should. Well, we had 2 players of the week this week, which for last week, which I think was really cool. Shane Murphy in Birmingham, who has been just tearing it up. 0.47 ERA over his last 3 starts in 19 innings. That's like crazy good. So hopefully he can keep that up. And then Big George is finally starting to hit. I hope it's not just a little streak here, but he has been on fire. So he is player of the week for the Carolina League, with his slash of 405, 490, and 690. That Canny team can hit.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like every time it's doing the recaps for them, it's just offense usually is never the problem for them. It's just whether their pitching can keep them in the game. So it'd be great to see that hitting hopefully progressing through the system, and we could not be last in batting average out of 30 teams would be pretty awesome.
Gosh, if George Wolko can like just kind of stay on this trajectory, he's so young. So it's like there's so much time for him. And it's like I have to keep reminding myself. And I just like when he does get on these little streaks and like you start seeing that, you're just like, yeah, he could be really good. Like I just want to get like you get in there, figure it out. Let's just fine tune it up. But,
yep, exactly. Because I mean, at the age of 19, you still have plenty of time to figure out how to knock down your K rate. I mean, plenty of developmental time there to figure it out. So, all right, look at that, girl. We flew through our 30 minutes.
We did it.
And you can still talk about bad baseball. And yeah, all right. So that'll wrap it up for this week. And next week, I believe we will be back with a guest. But if not, we will be back regardless. So thanks, everyone, for listening. Catch us on our YouTube, Spotify, all those good places. And we'll see you next week.